No matter where you are in life, if you're over the age of about 5 or 6, you are probably dealing with regret, or you have. And nothing steals joy and peace like regret. It dogs our steps, and when we're dealing with that, when we're trying to move past it, it's everywhere we turn. There is the regret. It's just so hard to get away from. But if we want peace and contentment in our lives and we want to move forward, we have got to learn how to deal with regret. Um, when my friend's mother was in the nursing home, it was the day before she passed. They had had a great day. It was a holiday. Her and her sister went over and they spent the whole day with their mother, played games, talked, reminisced, had a wonderful time, ate some of her favorite foods because it was a holiday. And when it was time to leave, and it was it was evening, it was bedtime practically, when they left or they were getting ready to leave, and the mother begged her, please don't leave, please stay here with me. Well, you just can't. In a nursing home facility, you just can't stay. And the day had to end, but then her mother passed away the early in the night, still early the next morning. She passed away. My friend still to this day, it's been like 8 or 10 years ago, still to this day, she regrets that she did not stay just a little bit longer with her mother. When my husband passed, I have so many regrets of that day. The whole thing leading up to that. And when I left the hospital, it was during COVID. Yeah, I know it sucked. The whole thing. They would not let me stay. Once I walked out the door of his room, I was not allowed back in until the next day, whatever. Anyway, so I waited as long as I could, but I had to go to the bathroom. It was terrible. I'd been there several hours and I couldn't go to the bathroom. There was no, he was still in the emergency room area, so there was no bathroom without me leaving his little cubicle, and I could not get back in that day. I never in a million years dreamed I was never going to see my husband again. Never dreamed that. I had no reason to think that. So I stayed as long as I possibly physically could, and then I left. And that was the last time I saw my husband. Oh, such regret. I wish I would have just, there was a bedpan. I wish I'd have used the bedpan, which I know that would have been disgusting. But if I'd have known, I was never going to see him again. Other regrets I had a lot. We internalize everything, and after we lose someone or if we go through a really traumatic experience, we think it's all my fault. If only I hadn't have done this. If only I would have said that. If only I would have turned left instead of turning right, I would not have had that accident. Whatever it is that you're going through right now, and it just tortures you, or it can just torture us. I should have said this. Ugh, there's so much that we wish we could have done, or we wish we would have done differently. But regret is, besides the Bible warning against it so many times, it is so unhealthy and it keeps you stuck. We cannot undo all the things that we believe that we did. Um, Petty little arguments. If you lost a spouse, you know how that is. Petty little disagreements and arguments and things uh, you you want to have the last word. And if you're married to a stubborn person, which most of us are, they want to have the last word. And it just goes on and on. And oh, but it's so unhealthy and it keeps you stuck and it cannot be undone. No matter how much you regret it, how much you wish you hadn't said this, you wouldn't have started an argument over whose turn it was to take the laundry out of the dryer. No matter how much you wish you never had that argument, or you had just went ahead and picked up his socks. You told him 1,000 times, get your socks up off the floor. You know that drives me crazy and whatever. And you wish later, why didn't I just pick up the socks? Why did I make that a thing? It did not have to be a thing, but we all do it. We all have regrets, so many regrets. And they're hard to get past. They really are. It's been several years for me, and I don't torture myself quite as much, but I do relive days. And I think, oh, if only I could go back and just undo that one day, that one argument, that one silly disagreement, that one shopping experience. Oh, I just have the silliest things, and certain things will remind me of that. And I'll think, why? Why did I have to make a big deal about that? But it can't be undone. We cannot undo it. All we can do is move forward. One of the a thing to consider doing is make a list of your regrets. And some of them are going to be so petty, you're going to be like, oh, I cannot write this down. I can't admit that. That's one of my regrets. Make your list. Make a list of your regrets. If the list is a sin, if you did actually do something that was sinful behavior, ask God for forgiveness. And that will help so much, help with you not being able to forgive yourself. God already knows. He already knows what happened. He already knows that list of regrets. Arguing about whose turn it is to take the laundry out of the dryer, that's not a sin. But God knows that you are torturing yourself with that. He already knows that it's your regret, and you just feel like you can't move on. You can't get past it because why do we argue about that? You did not stay at the hospital when your mother really wanted you to, but you just couldn't stay. You had to go to work, or you had to go home and go to bed, or the facility was kicking you out like they did with me and my friend. She couldn't have stayed all night. None of that is our fault, and it cannot be undone. God already knows how you're torturing yourself and how you're feeling about it, but make a list. It really does help. It helps you sort your thoughts. A lot of times when I would journal and I would write down things, it just, God, where are you? Why aren't you giving me peace and joy in this? I don't feel your comfort. I don't feel it. I would write it all down in my journal, usually by the end of sometimes pages and pages. I'm a writer, so I write a lot. That's how I process. But sometimes it'd be pages of writing. By the time I was at the end, my mindset was changing, and I was working my way through it by writing it down. So think about that. Maybe that'll help you as much as it helped me. It's very freeing just to write it down. Get it down on paper. Get it out of your head. And you might not be able to tell this to anybody else, but you can tell it to God. Just pray, and He will give us grace. One of the hardest things is to be gracious to ourselves. Sometimes it's so easy to extend grace, patience, forgiveness, understanding, compassion to others, but it is virtually impossible to extend it to ourselves. Be kind to yourself. Be gracious to yourself. Forgive yourself for leaving the hospital that day, leaving the nursing home, making a big deal out of the clothes that got left in the dryer. Forgive yourself for that. Give yourself grace so that it doesn't just continuously dog your steps, follow you everywhere you go. We're only torturing ourselves. So be gracious and be kind to yourself. Get some sleep. If you want to take a nap in the day, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, the Midwest. You were a bum if you slept in the day. Get your rear out of the bed, off the couch, get out there and make something happen. Be productive today. Are you going to sleep your life away? If I had $1 for every time my dad told me that or asked me that question, are you going to sleep your life away? I'd be living in a nicer house. But if you want to take a nap, don't worry about, the sun should never catch you asleep. I remember hearing that a lot too. The sun should never rise and catch you still in the bed. Get some sleep, take a nap, relax, be kind to yourself. Go outside, take a walk. Fresh air. My husband passed in January, bitter cold. So I didn't want to be outside a lot. I couldn't go out for a long, long time. But the best thing, I have a little dog, and the best thing was just taking him out and taking a walk with him, getting fresh air. Oh my goodness. I would cry outside, bawling, wailing, keening. It was not ladylike. It was not the sniffling like they do on movies where the little tear. No, it was ugly. It was snotty. It was not pretty. I did not care. I have a hill behind my house that is state property, and I would walk up that hill just wailing. I know my neighbors heard me. I know they did, or they were all deaf, even though they were inside, hopefully with their furnaces running, but they had to know what I was doing. Anyway, the fresh air really helps your mood. It helps you release things, but just most importantly, forgive yourself. If you want to get past regret, you are the only one holding it against you. No one else is. It's all in you. God is not holding it against you. Most of your family, they don't know anything about it. They don't know if you argued over who burnt dinner or you made a comment because he fixed something for dinner that he knows you don't like. My husband had retired, so he did most of the cooking. And of course, I pretty much like anything. But if that's what you had an argument about, don't worry about it. Nobody else knows but you anyway. Just forgive yourself. You are your hardest judge. We just have to stop doing that. We have to be kind and gracious and loving to ourselves. God loves us. Know how much God loves you. Get in the Word. Search through His Word for promises about how special and important you are, how much He loves you, and that has never stopped. No matter how petty you think you were, or ungracious or unkind you were to the person that you lost, God knows your heart. He loves you. You're unique. You're beautiful. And He gave His only Son for you. So be kind and be gracious to yourself. I hope you found some value in this video. Let me know if you are in the stage of grief right now. And if you want to post what is your biggest challenge in releasing regrets, let me know. Comment below. Give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I want to bring more content for grieving people, and not just grieving a loss, but maybe just a stage that you're in your life. I just want to encourage one another, give you encouragement wherever you are in your life journey. Have a beautiful day. We have snow outside again. This is a snowy winter, but enjoy it, get outside, and have a blessed day.